Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and I finally have excellent news in regards to the Boeing community in Flight Simulator 2024. The first decent Boeing has found its way into the new simulator, and it isn't just any Boeing, it's the 787. Now, kind of fitting to the Airbus A350 that we've flown recently quite a lot, we now have the US competition available with the 787-9 by Horizon Simulations. Now the Horizon 787 is arguably one of the best freewares that was released for Flight Simulator 2020 back in the day, and has now been released for Flight Simulator 2024. Note that I did say one of the best, because obviously the fly-by-wire A380 is out there as well, and while both aircraft are really good, fly-by-wire kinda did the entire aircraft in terms of they also had to build the models and stuff, while Horizon could use the standard 787 and build their 787-9 out of that standard 787-10. So let's go ahead and have a quick look inside, and you will notice that the aircraft looks just about as good as it did in Flight Simulator 2020, but do note that I said it looks as good as it did in Flight Simulator 2020 and not as in 2024. And the reason for that is that the Horizon 787 is based upon the Boeing 787 that Asobo developed for the Premium Deluxe package for Flight Simulator 2020. This means in order to be able to use the Horizon 787, you have to own Flight Simulator 2020 in the Premium Deluxe edition. Otherwise, you will not be able to use that 787. Now, that one is absolutely required to be able to use the Horizon Sim, and you actually need to download it using the file manager in FS 2024. So let's go ahead and have a quick look into how you can do that. So I'm going to end that flight over here, and we'll go straight into the menu and into the marketplace. Now, from Marketplace, we head over into My Library, and then once everything has loaded down here, we are simply going to enter 787 into the search, and you can see that this brings up all the Boeing 787 related items. Most importantly, you've got the base content over here with the different liveries for the 787, and then down here, you have the Flight Simulator 2024 787, which you can see is deactivated over here, but more on that in a few moments. Now, going a little bit further down, you can see you also, if you own the Premium Deluxe version of Flight Simulator 2020, you have that one available down here as well. And you need to select this particular 787 down here, so the MSFS 2020 787, which does show as unverified at the moment, so you got to select that and enable streaming that particular aircraft. Now that's going to open a pop-up asking you that you need to disable the 787-10 that came with Flight Simulator 2024. This is required because the simulator cannot have the same aircraft type twice at the moment, so it will then automatically disable the 2024 native 787 and is going to enable the FS 2020 787. Now this, as mentioned, is required since the Horizon Simulations 787 is based upon the old 787, therefore without it the Horizon 787 can't work. Well, and once it is enabled down here and the old one is disabled, do check both, so that one's enabled, that one's disabled, then you can head right into the free flight menu and just load up a flight with your favorite Boeing 787 and get going. Now, since it's been about half a year since I've flown a decent Boeing aircraft, since I didn't use FS 2020 anymore once 2024 came out, it's certainly a little bit of a learning curve again to get back into the Boeing world and just to get your transition started. A few things to note over here. When you load into the aircraft, the screens do appear rather dark, but they come up pretty quickly. Now, since this is FS 2024, you also need to assign a profile. So going up here into the controls, you can then set your profiles for the A320, for the wait a moment, for the A320? That doesn't make sense. For, in case in my case here, the Thrustmaster A320 stick that's connected, and the Bravo throttle at the moment. I created a specific control here for Boeing aircraft, which includes things such as the trim switches and stuff like that that I didn't need in my Airbuses. One of the things I like about the Ryzen is that when you change those profiles, the panel state doesn't change automatically. That is a problem with the newer FS 2024 aircraft. This one's not affected by it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Now, for those of you who haven't used the Horizon Sim in quite a while, you can find your custom settings down here. From any of those init reference pages, you go onto the index page, then you go to the settings page, and up here you can change things such as the nav display mode, whether you want heading up or track up. Then you can change the IRS alignment time, your cell call code, which is going to show up here on the PFD. And then you can also trigger your SATCOM. You can change the flight director from the cross pointer over to the V-bar flight director that you can see over here. Personally, I'm more of a fan of cross pointer, since it simply is what most airlines use. Then you can go next page. Over here you can enter your SimBrief settings, which you can then use in order to uplink your SimBrief data into the 787 FMS. Now, last but not least, if you go back to the previous page, you also have the weight and balance menu down here, where you can either just import your SimBrief OFP data, but remember to adjust the fuel as it will upload it exactly to the kilo, so at least round it up to the next hundreds or so when you do that. Or you can just set your passenger and cargo figures by yourself down here. Apart from that, make sure that you also enter your hobby code, since the aircraft is CPDLC and ACAS enabled. So if you go onto the COM page over here, you can see that you can do things such as your clearance requests, your ADIS requests, you can do weather requests down here, and you also have CPDLC, at least in parts, available over here, where you can do things like altitude, route, speeds, or free text messages. So all of that is pretty good stuff that you've got available in the aircraft over here. Now you can use that manager down here, system information, and click yourself through this in order to find and enter your hobby ACAS code. I'm not going to go into that right now because it would show my code screen. Obviously, we don't want to do that. Well, and apart from that, I did already do my first traffic pattern over here, which went really well. The aircraft does fly pretty fine in the new simulator. I did really enjoy it, so be sure to try that out pretty soon. Now, personally, I'm probably going to do a little bit of line training once again. I just recently looked at Flight Radar 24 and a couple of the real-life 787 short hauls that were recently flown, and it turns out Lufthansa has recently done some line training between Frankfurt and Munich once again in the 787, so chances are you're probably going to see that one on the channel in the not-so-distant future. In any case, that's the Horizon Sim Boeing 787, now in Flight Simulator 2024. I do hope you guys are going to enjoy this one. Definitely one of the best freewares available for the old sim and now also for the new sim. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video. As always, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And I'm really looking forward to see you all in a decent Boeing very, very soon.